Artificial intelligence is evolving fast, but most people don't realize that AI developments can often be fueled by an unseen and sometimes exploited human workforce.
People are very heavily involved in building these data sets in order for them to train AI models. It is really important to understand who is contributing value to the AI ecosystem.
You know it's JEJE Vibe. Can your filthy vibe?
I'm feeling it.
Do you like DeFi?
I love it.
JEJE Vibe is JEJE Vibe.
JEJE.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen?
We're back.
We back again with another vibe. Hope it hits you in a good place.
It always does.
Because this is going to be one of those episodes.
This is the place to be.
This is exactly where you'd rather be. Where else? Vibing with me, your host, Oluwaseun Gabriel. And you know I got the queen with me.
Yep.
So today, we're going to be talking about AI. And the humans behind AI.
Humans in the loop.
Humans in the loop.
Artificial intelligence is evolving fast, but most people don't realize that AI developments can often be fueled by an unseen and sometimes exploited human workforce.
People are very heavily involved in building these data sets in order for them to train AI models. It is really important to understand who is contributing value to the AI ecosystem.
Training AI for models that power everything from chatbots to smart home appliances requires a massive amount of data, so tech companies employ millions of people around the world to perform the repetitive tasks needed to create and then annotate datasets they eventually use.
I did another project. These photos, they're not your ordinary photos. You have photos of naked women and people in the casinos, gamblings, and then now you had to categorize and put pornography or casinos.
Over time, the AI gets better at identifying inappropriate content such as pornography. But the longer Joanne continued this work, the more she felt the strain.
These are the humans working in the sweatshop of these AI factories.
That powered your so-called AI that you can actually now decide to use a prompt to get your information.
To get what you desire, somebody has to train this AIs to educate them on our daily lives and words that we basically are familiar with as humans as we grow.
Yep.
They have to train this AI
And
to be able to identify what's black, what's white when it comes to the race category of humans.
Yep. Not even just that. Animal, place, or things.
And now,
effective AI models like ChatGPT or DALL-E often rely on an invisible human workforce in the global south that clean up the training data sets. Why is data labeling so important, and whose job is it? The performance of an artificial intelligence depends on its training data, whether it's an autonomous robot vacuum or a generative AI that creates a poem or a picture based on a text prompt. To create a good data set, labeling the data is essential, and this task is still mostly done by humans. By labeling the training data, humans tell the robot vacuum where it should vacuum and when to stop. In case of a generative AI, humans decide and label what kind of content is offensive. ChatGPT and other generative models are not magic, and they rely on massive supply chains of human labor. Lots of companies outsource the tedious data labeling process, mostly to countries in the global south, such as India, Venezuela, or Kenya.
and now, like we said, it's a sweatshop. The responsibility of these people that behind the AI are taxed all the way in certain countries away from the United States.
Like Kenya, Indonesia now.
A lot of these third world countries.
Yep.
That is where they're taking the job too.
Mm-hmm.
The focus has been on the one we saw in Kenya.
Yep.
It was crazy.
Crazy. They talk about how they have to do this data labeling. But the thing about it is that before you can even talk about this whole AI thing or the data labeling people, there's still other humans within the loop of the humans in the loop.
Crazy.
The ones that harvest the data in clusters.
Crazy.
Data mining is the process of extracting valuable information from large data sets, patterns, trends, insights that you can help to understand your business better. And there are 4 stages. The first of those is setting objectives. This is where data scientists and business stakeholders work together to define a business problem that data mining will be applied to. Step 2 is when we take a look at data preparation. This is identifying the data that we need to help answer these questions, and then cleaning that data to remove any noise such as duplicates, missing values and outliers. Then 3, this is the interesting part. This is where we take a look at a number of algorithms. And this is things like clustering, association, classification, and deep learning to derive data relationships. And then finally 4, that brings us to results, where we interpret these results to make sure that they are valid, novel, useful, and understandable. Data mining.
And these people are now tasked to filter this data.
Data. Hey.
This information.
Yep. From data mining now. In the data mining aspect of things, you have humans in the loop. In the data labeling, you now have humans in the loop. Denounce.
Facts.
I don't know who, but they would put cameras on the heads of babies. Then you would kind of log what you were seeing, so what the baby was seeing. I still don't know what the exact purpose of that was.
Indicating in some data what's a cat, what's not a cat. What's a grammatical sentence? What's not a grammatical sentence?
AI models don't know on their own how to distinguish between whether or not someone has cancer or not, whether something is a stop sign or not.
There was a set where they wanted people to mark border crossings. I did a couple of them and I started to wonder, why is this being used?
So the conversation is started about humans in the loop.
Mm-hmm.
The conditions in which this people in Kenya have to go through when they're training the so-called AIs.
Mm-hmm.
Meet the people who sort, label, and sift through reams of data to make artificial intelligence run smoothly for American tech companies. Jobs that are often farmed out to developing countries with conditions that have been likened to sweatshops with computers instead of sewing machines.
It's terrible to see just how many American companies are just doing wrong here, and it's something that they wouldn't do at home.
Like some of them are complaining about mental health.
Yes, because having to label a car as a car, having to label a house as a house, having to label a person as a person, furniture in your house, and then from there, within these old data clusters that the data miners mine now, there are several explicit data mixed into other datas.
Facts.
And we've talked about how some of these platforms, they don't have security when it comes to some of the contents that they receive.
Facts.
We heard the same story from the dozen or so data workers we spoke to in Nairobi. As time went by, they were having to deal with ever more disturbing content. Nothing illustrated this better than what we heard from a woman we'll call Stacey. Stacey once dreamed of becoming a journalist, but after struggling to find her footing in the industry, she began working at a data annotation center, reviewing user-generated content on TikTok. She spoke with us under the condition of anonymity, having signed an NDA with her employer, a contractor of TikTok.
In an hour, we could do up to 200 videos. 7 out of 10 videos are graphic and violent. And yeah, that's what we deal with every day.
Like, I'm pretty sure everybody have seen a crazy, horrific video on social media.
Not even just that. You still get random messages from people that you don't know sexually solicitate you.
Crazy. That is what these people have to go through when they have to filter this data. Mixed up with so many.
They see a lot of graphic things.
Graphic data out there. Some of them are complaining about the pay.
Oh yeah, that they pay them $2 an hour.
In order to make ChatGPT safer, workers in Kenya label disturbing content, including graphic descriptions of violence and rape. Their pay, less than €2 per hour.
It's supposed to look like these products are magic. It's frustrating to know that there are people around the entire world doing this, and it's so hidden. And because it's hidden, it also leaves room for workers to be underpaid and mistreated.
So far, I have not seen an instance of a story where doing that kind of work enriched the people involved, was a good job that gave them better pay and more skill and more dignity over time. It's the opposite, typically.
And facing precarious conditions, that's a problem that I think more people need to be thinking about.
In 2023, a Time magazine investigation found that tech companies were paying people in the global south less than $2 per hour to do this type of work. Americans are a growing part of this booming industry and face a different set of obstacles, including not always knowing who they're working for.
There's been a lot of things that may be related to AI that we weren't really explained. The overall purpose wasn't explained. A lot of companies at that time, and even now, were keeping the intention of the project pretty secretive.
And I think a lot of companies are thinking about this as proprietary information and don't want to sort of give the entire context of how that information is going to be used. And so workers might not have that context when they're actually doing the work.
A lack of transparency also means that these gig workers have few ways to push back against employers when something goes wrong.
We took a survey of workers doing the work on Amazon's platform. And the number one concern, all the issues, what should we tackle next, was something called mass rejections.
Crystal and other workers said that in 2022, a requester called AI Insights posted a batch of more than 70,000 tasks on Mechanical Turk. Hundreds of people completed the jobs, but all found their work rejected, even though the glitch was caused by an error from the requester, which soon vanished from the platform, keeping all the data and leaving workers unpaid and unable to reverse the rejections.
Workers not only lose that money in that time, but we have things called approval ratings that determine what work we have access to. The more rejections you have, the worse your approval rating gets, and once you get below a certain point, you really don't have access to good work anymore. There are plenty of people who do this full time, and they can lose their livelihood over something like that.
And hey, Americans are here busy complaining that this so-called tech bros oligarch now are moving jobs to H-1B visa. But now, this is beyond H-1B visa if you really think about it. They were beginning to name Kenya as the next Silicon Valley.
Crazy.
We're launching what we're calling the Nairobi, Washington Vision. This initiative is going to bring together international financial institutions and nations from all around the world to mobilize more resources for countries saddled with debt, to open more opportunities to the private sector financing, and to promote transparent, sustainable, and affordable lending practices. These are big goals. It's going to take time to see lasting progress, but we're providing $250 million, the United States is, to the World Bank in a crisis response window. In the coming weeks, the United States is going to make an additional $21 billion available to the International Monetary Fund. And today, I'm proud to announce there will be $250 billion in new lending capacity for multilateral development banks like the World Bank to help low-income nations invest in their development and tackle growing challenges. This is supported by the United States and many other countries as well. Next, we're launching a new era of technological cooperation between the United States and Kenya. That means new partnerships with industry, artificial intelligence, semiconductors, and cybersecurity companies. New initiatives to expand affordable internet all across East Africa. New education programs are going to bring Kenyan students to the United States to study in the STEM fields. And I'm proud to announce that I'm working with Congress to make Kenya the first country in Africa to receive funding through the CHIPS and Science Act, which has served us well. This funding will link their supply chains to the United States and to our partners, and spur innovation that extends from Silicon Valley in California to Silicon Savannah in Kenya.
Meg Whitman, who was, until recently, the U.S. ambassador to Kenya. It's no coincidence that President Joe Biden tapped Whitman, the former CEO of both eBay and Hewlett-Packard, to be America's representative to Kenya.
You know, Silicon Savannah is very real. It is anchored by M-Pesa, which was the grandfather company here that launched Silicon Savannah in many ways, sort of like HP in Silicon Valley.
Exploiting the cheap labor in Kenya.
Paying them $2 is it an hour?
An hour?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Hey, hiring them to contractors so that they're not liable, not even providing a, I guess, mental health sort of thing to cope with it.
Crazy.
The global market for data annotation is estimated at more than 2 billion euros in 2023. Hiring contractors in other countries comes with some risks. Big companies are not responsible for the conditions the workers have to work in. Contractors are. So, for example, limiting the exposure to disturbing content. The workers in Kenya complained about the lack of mental health care. On top of that, contractors have access to confident material. In Venezuela, data labelers shared highly personal pictures taken by robot vacuums on Facebook. One of them even showed a person on the toilet. Though the pictures were allowed to be used to train the next generation of robot vacuums, they should have never appeared online. OpenAI, the company that developed ChatGPT and the AI image generator DALL-E, is worth more than 26 billion euros. The workers in Kenya that helped make their product safer got paid less than 2 euros an hour, and that while exposing themselves to tons of disturbing material. Some started calling this AI colonialism.
It gave me nightmares.
DC, the aspiring journalist turned data worker who was tagging TikTok content. She was hired by Majorel, a business outsourcing outfit based in Luxembourg that was acquired by French company Teleperformance in 2023. Among Teleperformance's clients, TikTok, headquartered in the US and Singapore, whose Chinese parent company ByteDance is based in Beijing. Neither Teleperformance nor TikTok commented on the issue.
The company we are working for is making millions or billions. That makes the person really rich. Are we being used to make people billionaires?
The data workers we met, sitting at the very beginning of the global AI supply chain, told us their work can not only be traumatizing, it also comes with little job security. Like Faith, Joanne spent years doing free.
I was working on a new project for chatbots, and we just woke up one day and we just found a notification from the website saying like, no, this job is no longer available in your country, with no explanation, with nothing.
Data workers across Kenya saw similar messages before later receiving an email from Remotask.
Like, it's not even safe, because how does a company where you've been working for more than 5 years just exit without any notice or anything?
Crazy. These people are being paid $2 an hour. And there's a subcontractors. There's a contractors giving this job, and it's not directly to all these tech bros.
Nope.
So Meta and OpenAI.
They did mention those two companies. Also, they mentioned Microsoft too, and a couple of other companies too.
Crazy.
So you wonder why you're they keep laying people off in the US.
Crazy. They cracked the code.
Meta is recently going through another layoff now.
Crazy. About 5% of
after bending the knee and kissing the ring.
And now they're laying off. And he's saying that the reason is for people who are not efficient that he's laying off. Okay. We'll see. But this is going crazy out here.
It is. For a mere software calculator now that you prompt and still bring back results that are still maybe vague.
Facts. For a mere calculator, that's what we're celebrating now.
For a mere calculator.
AI. Like, we haven't...
A mere software calculator.
Like, this is a text app, a chatbot.
Just text messages. It just survives within the text.
Like, what impact has a chatbot done for the humanity?
Nothing.
Crazy.
And they come here saying that this AI is going to get really, really smart. We're getting close to artificial general intelligence. Meanwhile, the data that they use in power this thing is like over 2 years old. So most events that occur, they still gotta find the humans in the loop to extract the data now as data mining with the clusters. They still have to find the humans in the loop to now start sorting through those data, and also humans in the loop to now start labeling those data. And then humans in the loop that will write the code for it. And then humans in the loop that would build the software for it and do the updates for it. And humans in the loop that will actually now decide to type a prompt and get a response.
Crazy. The loop continues. Humans in the loop are out there. So if you're new to the channel, like, subscribe. You know it's JEJE Vibe. See you in the next one.
Bye-bye now.
JEJE Vibe, JEJE Vibe. JEJE Vibe.
I'm feeling it.
You know it's JEJE Vibe, JEJE Vibe, vibe. JEJE Vibe, vibe. JEJE Vibe, vibe.
Demand has never been higher for these racks and racks of powerful servers feeding the internet's insatiable appetite for computing in the cloud.
The reality is that the cloud is not up there somewhere, it's right here. We are in it, you're in the middle of the cloud as we speak.
And data centers like this can't ever stop. Streaming, social media, photo storage, and more recently, and requiring much more data, training and running chatbots, like OpenAI's ChatGPT, Google's Gemini, and Microsoft's Copilot.
And you can feel the heat coming off of these.
Thanks to the generative AI race, data centers like this are springing up as quickly as companies like Vantage can build them. And that means demand for power to run them and cool them is through the roof too. One ChatGPT query takes nearly 10 times as much energy as a typical Google search, and as much energy as keeping a 5-watt LED bulb on for an hour. Generating an AI image can use as much power as charging your smartphone. Hyperscalers building data centers to accommodate AI have seen emissions skyrocket. And this problem isn't new. Estimates way back in 2019 found training one large language model produced as much CO2 as the entire lifetime of 5 gas-powered cars. And even if we can generate enough power, our aging grid is increasingly unable to handle the load.
If you look at the peak demand during the summertime, if the data center don't reduce their load, there could be a blackout.